Now that I know how to adjust my concept of costs in the long run, I can use that idea to say, okay, I know how a firm does profit maximization, right? Here's your price. Calling it P0. Some firms are making a loss, they're going to disappear. Some firms are making a profit, blah, blah, blah. But overall, for this particular level of technology, Q0 is the scale at which the firms should end up producing, right? They'll choose the scale of production corresponding to this, and they'll produce there, and that's my total revenue. This is where price and marginal cost meet. That's my total revenue. That's my total cost. There, I got profit. Can you see? Story is going to get even more interesting. Bear with me. Bear with me. I know that the graph looks a bit messy, but run this slowly so that you can follow along. You can adjust the speed. Remember what I said? Graphs are developed and they tell stories over time. So when I've got bits of the story going on, sometimes it can look messy. But okay, here we are. This is my price. I should be thinking this quantity, ta-ta-ta. But there is a second adjustment, remember? A second adjustment that we could do when we went from short run to long run. The first adjustment was technology, which I just did. The second adjustment is firm's entry and exit. In this case, there's a profit. See that? So here I am. I am somebody who's trying to open a business, and I look around and I say, hey, look at this industry. It's making good profit. I will enter the industry. When I enter the industry, remember this is just a single firm. The total industry supply is the sum of all the firms. So the moment more firms enter the industry, remember we did that, what happens to the supply curve in the market if you have more firms? Shifts out, ta-da-ta, ta-da-ta, causes the equilibrium price to fall. So I'm a price-taking firm, I'm making a profit. More firms enter the industry, unless I'm a monopolist and I prevent them from. More firms enter the industry. In the market, go back to the activity where we said what happens to the supply curve and what happens to the equilibrium price when you have an increase in the number of firms. Entry, more firms. So the moment there is a profit, firms are going to enter. That'll, in that market-wide graph, show up as an excess supply, which will cause this equilibrium price to stop dropping. And it'll keep dropping until there is no more profit to be made. Which means the second dynamic from short run to long run is firms' entry and exit. If there's a loss, firms will start leaving. And as firms leave, that'll cause an inward shift in the market supply curve, causing the price to rise. If there is a loss, that's what will happen. If there is a profit, firms will enter. That will cause an outward shift in that market supply curve, causing the equilibrium price to fall. And the end result will be, as long as there is a profit, firms' entry and exit will cause an adjustment in the number of firms in the industry and change in technology until it all stops right here at the bottom of your long run average cost curve. No more profit or loss because there is no more entry or exit. This means that in the long run, in a single market, not taking feedback loops from other markets yet, as long as firms can enter and exit, they will enter and exit until they settle on the technology where there is no more profit or loss to be made. It is going to be at the bottom of that long run average cost curve, which means it's going to show the lowest average cost. Of course, all these assumptions have to work out. But if they do, this is what I mean when I say perfectly competitive markets will give you the cheapest, most efficient, best technological way to produce things. Inefficient firms will be driven out. If there is profits to be made, firms will enter. And all this adjustment will bring you right here to the place where it is cheapest to produce it, most efficient in the long run, not just the short run, to produce it with the bestest technology, no wastage of resources, exactly the right number of firms to meet this. So in the long run, the supply curve in a perfectly competitive market, from a firm's perspective, simply straight line. It is the bottom of your long run average cost, where your long run marginal cost and your long run average cost hit each other. It is going to be using the best scale, the cheapest scale of technology that you can produce at. It's like Goldilocks and Three Bears. Not too hot, not too cold, not too big, not too little, not too large, not too small. It's going to be perfect. This is why, abstractly, assuming all my assumptions about how markets work are correct, this is why we like free markets. Now, of course, the underlying question is going to be, is this actually how free markets work? Or are there things that get in the way for it to work this correctly? And that's going to entail what we do as we keep going through this quarter